Hey there, I'm StrawHatLucas, and welcome back to another episode of Rambling Addiction. This week, me and the buddy Knack Reacts are going to be talking all about the impactful nature of the Egghead Island arc. So buckle up as we're about to dive in, but first, cue that theme song.
Rambling Addiction, yeah, you're hanging out with Lucas. Manga, animator, anything, alright, let's do this. Weekly is the basis, worst generation. Cooking up a feast while he's turning through the pages. Theories that he's making, from shonen to seinen. Blocked in, analyzing, using observation. Yeah, observation. Rambling Addiction.
So let's start off with recapping the entirety of the Egghead arc, which is a task in of itself because so much happened in Egghead, a ridiculous amount. Starting out, we see as they leave Wano, Straw Hats have new bounties. Luffy is proclaimed an emperor. Right. Nami has Conqueror's Eye. According to Junpei.
Sabo's declared a murderer.
Yeah, Sabo has unalived King Cobra. That's already so much off the gate. That's in like one that's the first chapter of Egghead, man.
Yeah, it's pretty I went back for this video, we looked, and 10:58 is when it started.
Yeah, 10:58.
It feels like forever.
Straight said that. Like, I think Egghead's only going to be like 30 chapters long. It's almost 60 chapters. That's crazy to think. No, it's way more than 60.
And if we have another, like, 3 arcs like this, we're talking like, 200 more chapters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I don't know why people are like, it's going to end in like 3 years. It's not going to end in 3. Guys, listen to me. It's not going to end in 3 years. So next we got Marco being dropped off by the Red Hair Pirates. Shanks asked him to join his crew again because let's face it, Marco's the GOAT. Like, I know you agree. I know you.
Yeah,
agree.
He wants the best on his team. That's what it is.
Exactly. He wants the best. The first commander, in my opinion.
Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I agree 100%. He's my favorite character.
Yeah, he's goated Devil Fruit as well. That's a discussion for another time, but goated Devil Fruit, bro. One of the best zone types. 100%. One of the best zone types. Next up, we got the reveal of Cross Guild because we got the announcement Buggy was a Yonko as well.
Big stuff.
That's huge, dude. Like, that's we found out, hey, Buggy is with Mihawk now, and Crocodile. Oh, and they're a team. They're called Cross Guild. They put bounties on Marines' heads. Yeah,
and we see Crocodile come in and decimate a fleet of Marine ships in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And Mr. One showing out always gets me, like, just because Alabaster, you know what I mean? Like, what a good arc, and seeing my goat back like that, which he's not the greatest of all time, that goes to Bon Clay, but still a goat.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Bon Clay come back half soon either.
Listen, it's Rambling Addiction, we gotta say it, dude. Bon Clay coming out of Impel Down, like, if there is another Impel Down breakout, right? Because I want Dofi and Moria to break out too. On topic, join Cross Guild.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I really need Bon Clay to escape as well, because like he's in Impel Down, he's biding his time. It's time for him to join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, because that's what he's gonna do. All of New Comic Kingdom. Then I have to look through the wiki. Too much happened on Egghead, guys. We reread Egghead a bit, like Knack had said, and it's still so much.
I was gonna say the list of events that even happened, like, everybody thinks Egghead now, and we're looking back on the arc. It's the arc of the Gorosei. That was 70% through the arc. We got a laundry list of things happened before that.
I would even dare say that's only like 80% during through the arc.
Yeah,
like,
the end.
So right after Cross Guild, Amazon Lily happens. Blackbeard attacks Amazon Lily.
Right. And Colby is kidnapped. And we find out he's part of Sword.
Yes. And
we didn't even know that.
Rayleigh shows up. Yeah, we didn't know that. And then Rayleigh shows up on Egghead, or on Amazon Lily, displays some of the best Conqueror's Hockey we've ever seen. Yeah, and we see the Seraphim.
Reading that chapter, I noticed Blackbeard's reaction to him. And it was interesting in that sense as well. He knew exactly what he was dealing with.
Yeah, He do. It was like he knows what Luminarians are. We talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
exactly
Seraphim.
he saw that because he focused on the flames in the wings. He was like,
right.
Hold up. Do you want to know what happens next now?
What's that?
Little Lucia.
Oh shit. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I forgot that event even happened.
Yeah, it never existed. It makes sense. Yeah, it never existed. Yeah. All gone.
It is insane. But yeah, aside from, you know, what happens with the Straw Hats, we got a few battles. We got a few big battles. Yonko is included. Blackbeard versus Law is the first one we see then.
When I saw Jesus Burgess lift a mountain, I was like, okay, something's up. I knew something was going on. We thought for a long time, remember, everyone thought Law was gone. Like, we thought he was unalive by Blackbeard. Everybody.
I bet you right now, if you try to Google Law's name, it says Law's dead. There's more searches for Law's dead than there was that he's alive. People were stressing.
Then we get the first, I think that's right after we get the first little bit of the Straw Hats on Egghead, isn't it? Like, we get them landing on Egghead, meeting Vega Punk and Shaka, or is that before?
No, well, Amazon Lily's before, then we get our first time at Egghead.
That's the first time where we meet Lilith for the first time, which, dude, that chapter, when that chapter dropped, I remember I think it was like, there was a break after, or there was a 2-week break after, and everyone, that whole time, like, everybody was listening, or I remember listening at work to theory after theory after theory. Why is Vega Punk a young woman?
I remember watching it with my girlfriend, and she was like, is that really Vega Punk? And I'm like, absolutely, that's Vega Punk. What do you mean?
Right. Of course.
She's only anime, so.
Yeah. So she's up to date, but only anime?
Yeah. So at the time, she only seen Vega Punk as Lilith.
Oh, that's amazing. She is gonna shit her pants when she sees what happens later in Egghead then.
Yeah, no. I can't talk about nothing, man. Egghead's just been like, other arcs I can talk a little bit, but no, nothing.
Oh, during that first time at Egghead is when Rob Lucci arrives as well.
And we see Gear 5 versus Awakened Zoe and Rob Lucci.
Yeah. And Gear 5 manhandles him across Egghead.
I gotta say, that was surprising. I did not expect Lucci to pop off and just be awakened. I don't know.
And Kaku. Kaku also was awakened. He attacked Zoro on the ship. And
what's an awakened giraffe? Let's be real.
What's an awakened giraffe, though?
For the last time, giraffes are awesome. I love giraffes.
No, it was impressive. And we got the, shortly after that, we got Shanks and Kid.
Yes. The animation for that didn't have any reason to go that hard.
Yeah, no.
The fact they added in like a tiny killer too, like coming in like and tried to jump in front of Kid.
Oh, dude. And like they showed Kid like seeing the light flash before his eyes and everything. Like they really sold it. Yeah, he's coming back, but that was rough.
See, I don't think so. I actually want him to be, and not because I like dislike him as a character or anything like that. It's more of a, I think it'd be more impactful for Luffy. Yeah, like no, I think it'd be more impactful for Luffy. It's personal beef. Useless mid, you count your days at the bottom of the sea.
I think he has had a lot of time to shine, and he hasn't captured our attention yet.
Yeah,
but I still got hopes he got a conclusion to this horrible story.
Under the sea.
Oda can do some stuff. I won't doubt Oda. I can doubt Kid, but I won't doubt Oda.
Next up, actually, then, if so, we just talked about the Shanks and Kid stuff. Isn't that when we get the reveal of York, or was it right before?
I think no. Yeah. So we actually got the reveal of York right before, and our boy
How did
got.
You feel about it? Yeah, shocking.
Ricky!
I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, dude.
Like even a little bit, but I was a little lost with the beginning of Egghead. I'm not gonna lie, the paneling was a little hard. I had to read it a couple times. Even when they said it was York, I was like,
no,
I don't get it yet. I gotta look. Like, but then honestly, getting like I'm jumping ahead, but getting the reveal that it's all planned and memories are wiped. Yeah, that
was insane. The Void Fortnite. That was one of the best chapters in the entirety of One Piece. I don't know why people. Yeah, I'll never forget. People on Twitter and stuff, they were like so against it. They're like, this is mid, like Vega Punk.
Oh, retcon.
Blah, blah, blah.
Retcon.
Yeah, it's a retcon. It's a retcon. The retcon, no me. No, get out of here.
No,
Like,
it's a genius.
it's genius. Yeah, exactly. He's playing 4D chess, and he knew what was coming.
Yeah, no, seriously, that puts a whole different perspective on it. When I did first see it, though, it was a genuine like, huh?
Come again.
It was also like it added another layer that we didn't have in One Piece before. Like this early part of the arc was like a murder mystery.
Oh yeah, I
mansion.
said that too.
Killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It was a whodunit, like a whodunit Peter thing. But yeah, it was nice to see Oda dip his toes into a different kind of genre. You know what I mean? Like, especially. Oh yeah, like because when he started One Piece, a murder mystery like Death Note. Well, that wasn't really the start. That was like the mid. Not even midway, dude. One Piece has been going forever, okay? But like Death Note, that was huge for a long minute. It's still pretty big. Monster's another big murder mystery manga that is huge. So it was really nice to see him dive into that realm a little bit. And I really thought it was Edison because it was like, here's this cute chibi robot.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That or Atlas. I was like, man, what the hell? Don't eat that food, Luffy. Don't eat it. Like you're gonna get sick or something. Like,
and isn't Atlas hatred or something like that, or violence?
Violence.
Yeah, violence.
Yeah, like what? Who pulls that out of themselves and manifests it? Like,
Next up, we're going a little bit forward. So we've talked about York, we've talked about Kid and Shanks, Hachinosu, and just the beginning of Hachinosu as well.
Yeah, it was wild. Wild.
Yeah,
I call that like a full-on raid. Like,
yeah,
a one-man raid.
With Hachinosu, I don't think any of it. Like we expected Garp to go there, obviously, because he announced when they went to G14, isn't it? And they talked to Doll. He straight said, "No, I'm going after him." Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this.
Oh, it was a great scene. He was there at the dock, and he screams out to Helmeppo. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he's crying and stuff. He's like, "You coming with me?" And he's like, "Yeah, Garp, I'm coming."
Pause.
Dude, Helmeppo came in clutch. Like, let's get to the meat. Kube won, freeing as many people as he can while also trying to escape. Peak Kube. But then Garp coming in with a little known thing called Galaxy Impact. That was like a nuclear warhead. Yeah, insane.
It's hard to put that type of impact on a page. It was wild.
And they make you feel
it too. And then they animated it just recently, and it was like, oh, okay. I haven't seen anything like this in the entire story yet. They really sold it.
The visualization of his hockey being like legitimately universal, like you can see the universes behind him, multiple galaxies too, not just like one.
Yeah.
Dude. Fantastic. And then an atomic bomb of hockey just penetrating Hachinosu. Wild.
Like you said, like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah. Legitimately, like it was. It looked like a Ryoshiki when you don't touch the object, you just send your hockey through it, because he was midway in the air and boom, impacted with the ground.
It was wild. Yeah. One of the things I will say about the anime that I do have questions about, because they tend to do stuff like this often. They'll over exaggerate the impact and then not show like relative destruction afterwards. So like, we've seen a massive like nuclear explosion and then they land and there's buildings all around them.
The person I always forget at Hachinosu is the one with the tame fruit, or the whip fruit, I think it is. You know which one I'm talking about. I can never remember her name.
Fujaku?
Yes.
Fujaku. I think that's she has Seagull on her head. She's Sengoku's granddaughter, but we'll talk about that some other time.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I think 100%. Habari is Akainu's daughter. I think a lot of the community does though, because they have the same dialect.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
And he has
seagull hat with Kujaku.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. She does the little seagull hat. Oh. Yeah. And then Akainu though, he like the Habari flowers are literally tattooed on him.
Oh.
Like, and it's like, that's your daughter, bro. Don't even play with me. That is your daughter.
And now he thinks, yeah. Kobe's gonna get it. Kobe's gonna get it.
Big facts, my man. Big facts. So next up is Garp versus Kuzan.
Bro, talk about heartbreaking.
Yeah. You have a habit of raising enemies.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's a terrible thing to do. That people think that they've seen that already in the anime. Like the real moments of that are coming.
Yeah. You've seen Blue Hole. You haven't seen the devastation that is Honesty Impact, because that happens during that fight. The escape from Hachinosu. Like,
yeah, oh man, people aren't ready.
They're not.
I'm not ready to see it animated.
Neither am I. Oh, dude.
Egghead has been a wild journey, and like I'm not one to usually watch much of the anime as I'm going through an arc. I prefer to watch it after because it's a little slow. But Egghead's been like 1-to-1, like great chapter, great episode, great chapter, great episode.
Yeah, there's literally an episode dropping tonight at time of recording, and I'm like, yes.
Oh,
it's Leo and Saul at the referee.
I know. We're just getting more and more. I think scheduling, it's like every month, every 2 weeks even. There's some big event, a worldwide event that's happening in Egghead, in the anime. And well, I mean, that's what we're here to ramble about. Like, which the island fruit being shown, and
Pizarro's fruit, dude, that is insane. How does it not affect him sitting in the water? That's what gets me.
Right. And like I thought it was just like an upgraded rock like fruit of that Pika guy.
Like Pika. Yep.
But he could sense where people were on him, like as if like there were his body. It makes sense because it's his body.
It's like ants crawling on you.
It's like crazy because if he took over a big island, he could tell Blackbeard where everybody's to.
Yeah.
Just be like,
imagine
this
the
guy's
final
here.
war. If they're like at like New Marineford or something, he just takes over the whole thing.
Wild. It's just intelligence on another level.
It really is. So next up is the Reverie incident, and I'm gonna let Knack spit on this. We're gonna be talking about it as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a couple incidents with the Reverie, right? We got the initial incident where Sabo, we kind of got a bit of a cliffhanger where we don't know what happened, and Sabo declared to be,
the Flame Emperor.
Flame Emperor. Yes, that's right. And then we actually got the explanation shortly after. And that's when he came back to the island and started giving the details. But before all that, before he gave us the details, Kuma started acting up and ran off from the island.
Slammed into the green line.
That's right.
Or the red line, my bad. Slammed into the red line.
We first started getting the details of the Reverie like through the paper.
Yeah.
And then
with big news,
runs off and smashes into the, like you said, the red line, and has a tragic moment where he's getting shot at and keeps climbing and doesn't give up, and we're wondering what's going on here, and leads into his brutal story.
It's on the thumbnail.
It's probably going to be talked about for years to come.
It's one years to come.
Story.
I've cried.
I believe it. I've cried too. 6 years myself. Yeah. Bonnie herself touches the bubble.
Memory bubble.
And from that moment, it's just you're looking at it through the daughter's perspective as well.
Yeah.
And shaking that
she can't
feeling. There's no separation from that.
Yeah.
Right.
I've cried at a lot of manga. Like, I've read Berserk, and I cried during Berserk. I read Zatch Bell, and I cried at times during Zatch Bell. Same with Full Metal Alchemist and all this. And I've cried during One Piece. But nothing has made me sob the way I did reading Kube's backstory. Happy 10th birthday alone. Like, my wife came in and was like, what is going on? And I'm like, it's so hard to explain. Yeah.
No, but it works.
It works.
Heavy. And then, I mean, just the disdain you have for the people that were involved with it. Like, I can't remember her name. It's Khalifa's sister, Alpha, I do believe her name is.
Yeah.
Dude, if you could punch a cartoon character, she'd be first on the list.
But Bonnie got her, dude. That big Nika fist.
Beautiful moment, too. That was... And people talk like when Bonnie showed, jumping ahead again, but when Bonnie turned into, Nika, her form, it was all just come out of nowhere. So what are you talking about? She's been mimicking Luffy since she's 10 years old.
Yeah, since she left.
You just didn't realize it.
Sorbet. Literally, the moment she left Sorbet, she imitated Luffy.
Through stories, she knew of the powers that Luffy had. That's what she imitated. She didn't imitate Luffy in person.
Exactly.
Right.
She imitated Nika. It wasn't about imitating Luffy at all. It was about being free and she saw that Luffy was free when he was in his Nico form, so she equated that form to freedom. It was beautiful, man. But I think I think it's time to get into like the main question of this entire Rambling Addiction episode, and that is, how impactful was Egghead to the entire story of One Piece? Luffy took on an admiral, and let's be real, once again, manhandled him. Yes, Kizaru did fight back, but he got turned into a pizza, bro.
Yeah, it was insanity. We've seen all the Yonkos make plays, except for Cross Guild, but I expect something big did happen with Cross Guild.
Buggy did. He did declare they were going for the One Piece.
Yeah, he did declare it, and he doesn't say stuff in jest all the time.
No,
like when he makes a declaration, it usually comes true.
Do you remember what Mihawk said about Luffy at Marineford?
Right.
His greatest power is to gather people. Buggy has that same ability. Yeah. It's definitely going to come into play. I need to know what Blackbeard's doing too, man, because he sent Katarina Devon. And I will say to the audience real quick, we're going to be getting kind of jumping from place to place, but it's because of the width and the expanse of Egghead in general. But Blackbeard sent Katarina Devon to Egghead with Van Augur. So, like, what was that about? You also have...
The question is still there. Was that his initial mission? I know she said that mission complete after she touched him, but how did he know there was going to be a Gorosei on the island?
Yeah.
It's all still up in the air.
Unless Lafitta's at Dory, like NoChillDill says. Which, maybe?
I mean, I won't count anything out no more. Not after these last years.
Yeah.
But in terms of impact, the world has changed in a way that's... Like, this will be the event similar to what the event was that took out the world 800 years ago and reset everything. Yeah. Like, if we had the story of that, it would be this level of change.
I agree entirely. I mean, with what we learned from Vega Punk's speech alone, that shakes the entire foundation of the story of One Piece.
Absolutely.
Another massive... So we talked a little about the moves the Yonko makes. The Yonkos have made. Shanks has left elbaf now. He's also on the way to get the One Piece. I think just seeing the Elder Stars leave Marijuana itself when we've barely gotten anything from them, right? The biggest thing we'd ever got from them at this point, the biggest thing we gotten from this when this happened was them saying the Nika Fruit's name, and that's it. Like, we got little bits here and there of them conversing, and that's it. I expected them to be formidable. I did not expect them to be at the level that they really were. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I knew they were going to be powerful, but to see them in action was an entirely different experience.
That's true. So there's two sides to it. So I expected them to be extremely, extremely formidable, but I didn't expect 0 damage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was what threw me for a loop, because then it's like, now we got a mystery on what to figure out. Like, how do we even hurt them?
Yeah. And not only that, because hockey wasn't working. Luffy had full armament coating when he punched Workery, and it did nothing. He was like, which, them being yokai forms, something that we've never seen in Devil Fruits before, I think it's telling, if I'm being honest. Especially what we saw in 1125 with how Saturn went.
Yeah.
I think it ties to them being connected to Emu. I really, really do.
Yeah, I think you can rule out that they're Devil Fruit powers, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't.
As well.
I lost that argument a long while ago. Like, they don't act like Devil Fruit powers. They're jumping over the ocean like it's nothing. They're teleporting. They're, they're being summoned.
They're being ripped like to shreds by attacks and then just being fine the next panel. Like,
and like our buddy Kube points out, the blood disappears from the jacket. It's not just he heals. It's like his whole form.
It never happened.
Yeah.
The damage itself is in the Void Century as well. Oh my God, Emu's Lucying the damage.
Yeah, and then you have the Faustian type thing going on with Emu. But
Yeah.
we can touch on that when we get a bit closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've been kind of jumping everywhere. I'm not gonna lie, guys. That's what's rambling addiction, baby. Let's go. But we have been jumping around a bit. In I would like to talk about the Giants of Elbaf showing up while I'm remembering things. Like that in itself is impactful because we've waited.
Yeah.
I haven't. I caught up in Wano, but people have waited for years and years.
Do you remember the chapter beforehand? And it was like 2 allies or some allies just pulled up.
Yeah, I thought it was the Grand Fleet.
No. Yes, the Marines are like, who's that pulling up? And everybody had like every answer in the world but the Giants. Yeah. And then it was the Giants. Bro, I remember seeing videos and YouTube shorts about how the Giants were showing up. Everybody was celebrating. It was a great time in One Piece.
Great time.
Glory and Brog, you're back.
Too, not only like that, but like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off too. But like seeing the level and extent that Oda is playing with death now. Is very telling for how impactful this arc is in general. Cobra died violently. The Vega Punks all died violently. I mean, they're okay now. Like we know they're okay now, guys. Don't worry. But
didn't take away the impact.
No, did not take away the impact. Ginny died violently.
Ginny was brutal.
Yeah, Ginny was brutal. Probably the most brutal death in all of One Piece, and we didn't even see it. Like.
And yeah, and Kuma's flashback, like touching back on that, you see the destruction of like a person and the self-sacrifice of a man for his family, and then the resolution or semi-resolution we have gotten two chapters back with young Bonnie sitting on Kuma's head was just perfect. Yep, and you know what else? We got Lucci and Kaku teaming up with the Straw Hats.
Straw Hats. Yeah. Oh, dude, we didn't even mention that. And only that, this is relevant to the new chapter as well, because I think it changed them. Did you see? Luffy lied for Stussy.
Yep.
She fell in combat. No, she didn't.
Come on.
No, she didn't. Do you think she's with the Vega Punks?
With the Vega Punks? If I was to guess, I would think she is doing something on her own. And Oda's going to give us a story about her trying to figure out what it means to be her own person.
Yeah. Oh, I like that, actually.
I think
because he told her.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, what does it mean to be human? I think she needs to avoid any real alliance. Like, she can be friendly, but not an alliance with anybody right now.
Because she said, what do I do now? And he's like, you live.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's a great story to dive into and, like, explore a bit. Like, so I've had my own theories about Stussy being a potential parallel to Monet. But...
Really?
I'd much prefer to see that story expanded upon than her just being another sacrifice.
I would love that. After Egghead, to get a cover story with Stussy and like Stussy's great adventure and like what she's doing around the world, just seeing her live, maybe going to Fishman Island, like, you know what I mean, like seeing the world, because she's powerful. She's a very strong human.
She'll be a big player too, like, because we know she was one of the 4 emperors of the underworld, and we haven't seen 2 of them in a long time. But Morgans and Stussy have been crucial in Egghead. So
exactly, and they were at Whole Cake as guest. Like that's an honor.
The other 2, I can't remember off the top of my head. One was the king of the black market, I do believe, which is where Frankie actually got the Atom Wood.
Yes.
So he could be coming back
I remember
around
what you're talking about.
in Elbaf if that.
See, I think that too. I said that on stream earlier, not to date the video, but like I said that on stream earlier. I think that the Atom Wood's in Elbaf. Like that's the giant tree we see entirely.
Yeah, and I think, like, not to go off on a tangent, but I think Frankie knows a lot. Like,
I think so as
well. The underground system isn't for noobs.
So yeah, Kube has been saying that he thinks Vegapunk helped Kuma decide where to send the Straw Hats, and that's why we didn't see the Frankie stuff in Egghead. Like, because everyone expects it, right? There's got to be these big moments between Frankie and Vega Punk. There has to be. Oda has teased that. He has set that up. Vega Punk is Frankie's idol. It's Chopper meeting Dr. Hogback, except it's going in. It's the reverse of it. It's that reverse parallel. And it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, and it hasn't happened yet. So it would make sense that Vega Punk, in some way, when Kuma was planning to send the Straw Hats, because he had the plan, right? It wasn't a whim thing. He went to Rayleigh and said, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
So I think that Vega Punk was like, okay, I have colleagues in what area? Send Nami here.
Yeah.
My lab is on, oh my God, was Vega Punk's hometown?
Baltimore.
Flavor. Baltimore, thank you. Did you notice I quoted Frankie?
Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
You can't say Baltimore.
But yeah, so Baltimore. And I think he was like, yeah, send Frankie there. And if Frankie's dad is Queen, it makes more sense why Vega Punk would feel inclined to help him, because it's an abandoned member of his former team. Yeah. It's very interesting to think of how much exactly Vega Punk has had entangled with. And not only that, and not to harp on Frankie even more than I already have, I do love me some Frankie though. It's interesting to me that Kuma has had multiple interactions with Frankie that we didn't see. Like when he showed back up at the ship, we did not get all of that. I don't think we did before Fishman Island. And I think that will be relevant, especially since Kuma's with them right now, from what we know.
Yep.
Bonnie and Kuma are both with him.
Frankie's also the one that told them Kuma's the one who protected the ship.
Yep.
Like that's why we know. He just dropped the subject there. He said, "Yeah, that guy."
Yeah, Kuma.
Protected.
He just said mission completed and left. That's kind of like all. I don't even think he says that in the manga. I think he's just like Kuma's the one that was protecting the ship, and then we saw the panel of Frankie walking up on Kuma, and that's it. We didn't get any. Yep. So we've talked a bit about Kuma and Vega Punk, and I would actually love to talk about their relationship.
Kuma and Vega Punk was almost as tragic as the flashback. Yeah. I remember the scene when he was getting ready to wipe the memories, and he says, "You were the greatest. For that. You're the greatest man. You just don't realize it."
Oh man, chills, literal chills. Jesus. And it's not only that, but like in seeing what led to Vega Punk creating the pacifista and stuff, like we got to see Sentamaru more. I felt so bad watching Sentamaru sail away from the island on that little rowboat, like crying.
Tragic. Yeah.
Tragic.
So that's gonna be that chapter, like as an episode, will be fantastic. Like from the emotions to the mood it can set. Because the way it opened out was just like silence, and then a lonely Sentamaru creaking away on a boat as Kizaru watched.
He lost his uncle and his grandpa in the same day, basically.
I can see a beautiful anime episode coming from it.
I hear too. Especially like they tease it in the opening to Egghead, where they show baby Sentamaru, the little butterball turkey, and Kizaru shooting off the laser light. You see it for like just a brief second in the opening, and I'm like, I'm not ready for that. That's so adorable. That is too cute.
Getting the emotions from the admirals has been fantastic. But another thing we missed earlier talking about Egghead was the fact that Kuzan even joined Blackbeard this arc.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw when that happened. Like
this arc. You know,
and Blackbeard.
I don't think we was. I think we didn't even know Kuzan was a part of Blackbeard's crew until Egghead.
Not until the cover story. Right as Egghead started, I can't remember if it was chapter 1058 or just like one or two after that, is when we got the reveal that that's who was on Whole Cake Island. But we knew that because of all the ice. But then we got the reveal he's with Van Augur. Like, and it's like, It's such an insane thing. And with Kuzan joining the Blackbeard Pirates, I always found it interesting that Blackbeard said to him, he's like, we're not a pirate crew. We just have goals that align to the same end. And it's like, ooh, what do you mean by that? What is your goal that benefits all of them?
And it's the polar opposite of Luffy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, we're not a pirate crew, we're a family. We're not friends, we're a pirate crew. You know? It
makes me wonder if it has some parallels to how the Rocks Pirates operated. But if I'm being honest, I really think they operated like Cross Guild. Like, there's a figurehead, someone who's like the face of the Pirates crew, but they're all doing their own thing, kind of thing.
That's right. I wouldn't mind. So we did get a little bit more context about all that stuff this arc, but I wouldn't mind getting really into the thick of it through a flashback sometime soon.
I need the God Oda, please. You hear me and Knack right now. Give us the God Valley flashback. We got this much, my man. Please listen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and anyone watching can hold me to that. I think we're getting God Valley in elbaf because Saul is a Marine who is old enough to be there.
Right. That would be great. And there's a lot of context stuff that could come out of elbaf we could use. Like,
exactly.
God Valley that we could use in elbaf.
Yeah,
there's only so many arcs left.
Yeah. Let's move on to future events. Is actually wait, no, before I do that, do you want to talk about anything else in EGGHEAD? There's like one or two more things I think I want to hit now that I'm thinking about it.
I think there's an incident. We've called it the Egghead incident, but I think there's one thing that happened this arc that'll we'll never be able to look at One Piece the same after, and that's when the Gorosei showed up. That come out of left field.
We are 50 minutes into recording. We still haven't even, they got summoned. They didn't just they got summoned there, man.
We thought Saturn might show up and discipline Vega Punk, be like, Kizaru will take care of you. And he comes out and shows us this monstrous spider yokai. Takes all the damage that we can dish. Shows everybody on the crew they're nothing. Freezes Sanji with his eyes. And then summons the rest of them. And Vegapunk message begins.
Yeah, I will never forget the moment I saw that for double page spread of all 5 of the Yokai Gorosei and Luffy in the center, staring them down like that.
Vegapunk gave him 10 minutes.
Yeah, gave him 10
minutes. Why
did
he do it?
Listen, I get it. He's a genius. He was playing 4D chess. We talked about it, but come on, man. You couldn't have said it faster. You couldn't have got to the message faster. Ugh. And
10 minutes is all they needed to decimate the island. Bonnie has control of the Pacifista. All the Marines are getting dunked on. And the Seraphim are all in bubbles. DP0 is locked up. Smooth sailing for the strides. Yeah. Send the message out and just leave, man. Why do you gotta die?
Send the message out and don't take 10 minutes to say it, or what is it? He took 5 minutes before he even said the message, and just to make sure things are working and stuff like that. It was dude, just go. The Gorosei are here. It's not just a Yonko or a Yonko crew or something. It's the fucking Gorosei.
He made coffee and burned his tongue like a cat.
Vega coffee.
I love it though. There's a moment in his speech where I still have the panel saved on my phone, and he bows down and he apologizes to the world for even having a part in creating something like this. Yeah. And it's he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's sometimes a little, off the cusp, but he never wanted to hurt anybody.
Before that chapter came out, where he got to that part in his speech where he was like, "I'm sorry, I did it." I made a whole rambling addiction episode where I was like, "Whose side is Vegapunk on?" Because I was still so unsure about him. And then we got that. We got the rest of his speech where he almost revealed I thought he was going to reveal the Ancient Kingdom's name. I really did. But we got that, and then we got his 4D chess move where we saw that's why he wasn't acting like he knew what was going on. That's why it's because he did this to himself. It just, between his message and everything else Vegapunk did this arc, one of the best written characters in all of One Piece, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Definitively, that's my opinion.
Tons of curves. Excellent.
Yeah. As many curveballs as Oda can throw.
Yeah, it was perfect.
So the last thing I want to talk to you about with Egghead, and then we'll go into some elbaf speculation, is what do you think it was that, obviously it was Emu that killed Saturn, but
right.
What do you think that was about?
Listen, bro, it's real fresh, so I'm not gonna put my foot in the concrete with this, but I still am leaning towards shadow powers because of Moria. Moria was so Moria, after Marineford, was mentioned to be wanted by the government still.
Yes.
And for some reason or another, they still seem to want that power. I wonder if it's shadows.
I'm thinking, I mean, it could be. I have no definitive guess on what exactly Emu's power is, but what we saw, like, they obviously can manipulate their form in any way, because they shot an arrow at Sabo and Cobra, and then turned into some, I don't even know what that was when Sabo shot his flame attack at him, the big mouth. But I think they have the ability to share their power, for sure. Like, that's part of it. Like, they can put themselves in others.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's all coming from Emu though. That's my big question now.
I've said it 100 times, man. I think Emu made a deal with the devil, the sea devil, and that the Gorosei in turn make deals with Emu, and with Garling acting the way he did in this chapter,
and they can then bring in whatever devils they want.
Yeah.
To possess these servants of Emu.
Yeah, that's legitimately what I think it is. It's they're putting a little bit of the devil that's in them inside of everyone else. It just manifested in a different way. Like, I don't think Garling's going to be the Ushioni, I believe it is what it was called, the yokai that he had. I think that Garling will have his own yokai form that is something we've never seen. On stream earlier, we joked that it might be a beetle because of his hair, and Luffy won't be able to attack him because he's like, oh, it's a beetle, it's a rare beetle.
Yeah, and I think, like, getting the power taken from him, just all it did was, force his body to become the age it will be. Yeah. If he never got
exactly. That's legitimately what I think as well.
300, 400, 500 years ago, he could have got that power, and his body's just been, held together by just spirit.
In stasis. Yeah, it's like a stasis that they're trapped in because of Emu's power. It keeps them immortal. I think it's like it freezes the... I don't want to say image because that's not the correct term, but like it freezes their image in that one moment in time when they take on Emu's power. So it makes them immortal by proxy, but once that power is removed, like you said, it's a Dorian... the Dorian Gray situation. It's time catches up.
Yep. It's not quite similar. It's similar, but it's not quite the same thing as how the energy steroids worked and Luffy's Gear 5, how they accelerate aging. But the effects of when it's taken away looks very similar. Yeah,
and it makes me think that if Mika, like the fruit that Luffy has, if he can share that power with others, like what we kind of saw with Bonnie's fruit, I know that really wasn't like actually him sharing, but if it's a reverse of that or an inverse of that, and that's what makes me think that Emu's definitely putting their power into somebody. Yeah, that's good shit, dude. That's spicy. That's spicy. That's that spice melange. So before we wrap up tonight, let me know what you're thinking for elbaf.
Elbaf could be a twist on a few tales, But I had an idea the other night that I thought would be pretty fun. I'm not gonna say, like, I expect it to happen, but like a fun story, a fun twist on an old tale would be if Loki is pretending he's already lifted Mjolnir, and that's how he gained respect on the island of Elbaf, or the land of Elbaf. In actuality, it's a fake, and it's just dressed up, and it's just like Usopp's hammers. And Usopp is actually going to find Mjolnir and
lift it,
topple this giant without ever having to fight this giant.
Yeah, see, that's what I think. We were talking about this in our DMs the other night, and I think this as well. Yeah, I think Usopp is gonna lift Mjolnir and take out Loki. I think Loki is gonna be like, he's mischievous, he's supposed to be, and I think he's gonna be using lies for his own benefit and to manipulate people instead of to lift their spirits like Usopp does. And I think it'll be good. It'll be a good matchup. I'm ready for Usopp to achieve his dream in elbaf. That's my hopes, man. I think Usopp will be the first one to achieve his dream.
That's right.
Do you think?
No, I agree 100%. I just think he needs to realize it. I think when Luffy needs him, the next time Luffy needs him and tells him, Usopp's going to realize, he's going to think back on all the times he's actually performed.
I think so.
That's what he's missing. Because he's acting as the warrior. He's just not hearing it.
Do you think Sogeking will come into play a little bit? I know there's the meme of like Usopp is in Sogeking, and it's so fun to do. But like, do you think that Sniper King will come into play during this like realization that it is just him doing those brave things?
he'll think back on Sogeking for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in Dressrosa. He forgot about it. And he lost all spirit.
Yeah.
Like, that's still a part of him. A big part of him.
I really want to see this. I know it's like headcanon shit, but I really want to see a scene where he feels like he has to put on the Sogeking persona again to do something brave in Elbaf. And instead he looks at Luffy and just takes off the mask. And Luffy sees that he's Sogeking, and it allows Usopp himself to see that he's Sogeking. Like,
that'd be so great.
Right? It'd be so good. Chopper and Luffy would lose it.
That'd be so great.
Do you think Arouge will play an important role in Elbaf? He's the last supernova. Yeah?
Yeah, he has to.
Why do you think he has to?
Oda's not gonna leave him behind. Like, everybody else has gotten their shine. He has to come back. We know he's in this section of the New World because he took out one of the Sweet Commanders. I don't recall his name off the top of my head, but he took him out before Luffy got to Whole Cake Island.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, so he is in this area of the New World, and like the Wano, Whole Cake, Egghead, all that.
I mean, he might have had to leave and lick his wounds and come back a bit stronger, but he's around.
Do you think his story is also going to tie into NL's, considering they're like the only two Birkins we've seen confirmed in the story?
I hope so. I like NL. I'm one of the people that actually liked NL's character. I thought he was pretty interesting.
It's
I know people.
He was so blasé. Yeah.
He'd compete like probably. You know, he probably wouldn't be an endgame guy, but like he'd still compete with some characters nowadays.
Yeah, especially if he's yeah, especially if he's advanced himself in like hockey in any way. Like if he has like observation hockey on top of his mantra, and then gets like armament as well. Like he'll be a force to be reckoned with in the final war. I definitely want to see him in Elbaf though.
Yeah, I'd like to see his real Slim Shady come back.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on this week, Nick. I really do.
Man, I really
tell people where to find you.
You can check me out on my channel. Watching JJK currently. I'm going to be checking out Free Run probably soon, and hop onto the TED Discord because we cook constantly. It's a great place to be.
That's why this rambling addiction is so long, is because we cook constantly, so we're just used to spitting with each other.
And it's an awesome community, and you really should check it out if you're interested in anything anime, anything manga. People won't kick you out, I promise.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. Yeah, no, not a problem at all, man. Really, not a problem at all. Go subscribe to Knack Reacts. In closing, I think that one of the reasons me and Knack rambled as hard as we did in this episode of Rambling Addiction is because it's so difficult to pinpoint exactly why it is that Egghead is so impactful. With how much happened in this arc, whether it be Vega Punk's speech, everything that happened between Kuma and Bonnie, everything that happened with the Gorosei, or even the things that happened in between the actual events on Egghead, like the stuff at the Reverie, the stuff with Blackbeard, or the stuff on Hachinosu, or any of it. There's so much that happened in Egghead, and if this is an indicator for how the rest of the final saga goes, that is amazing. There's one thing that I continuously thought the entire time that Knack and I were discussing everything there was to do with Egghead is this is only the first arc in the final saga. Things are only going to ramp up from here, and I'm very excited to see what happens in Elbaf. So yes, I have been StrawHatLucas, Captain of the Eternal Dawn, and thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a long wait for this one. I had a lot of hard time editing this, but as always, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below. Usopp is a brave warrior of the sea for a chance to be shouted out in the next episode. And hit that bell icon, all of that YouTube stuff. But more importantly than anything else in the entire world, have a wonderful, wonderful night.